Hello, everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about our topic for this week, culture. So what is culture? Culture refers to the beliefs, values, behavior, and material objects that form a people's way of life. Culture is transmitted through language and symbols. The beliefs and values of a culture are the basis for social rules that determine what people should and should not do. The term for these social rules is norm. Social norms are both formal and informal. We'll talk about these a little more in a minute. Let's look at some of the elements of culture. All cultures, including our own, have 5 components: symbols, language, values and beliefs, norms, and material culture. This is technology. And by technology, we're talking about any way that human beings physically manipulate their environment. The invention of the wheel, for example, or the discovery that fire could be used to cook food, are examples of technology, not just laptops and widescreen TVs. Let's talk about each of these in turn for a moment before we get to the topic at hand that we're going to discuss a little bit in Module 2, subcultures. First, let's look at symbols. Symbols are defined as anything that carries a particular meaning, recognized by people who share a culture. The meaning of the same symbols varies from society to society, and of course, we can know the meaning and not agree about some of the permutations of the meaning, as the current NFL take a knee protests is emblematic of. This American flag is a symbol, so is the bald eagle. So symbols are a larger cultural way that we transmit cultural elements from generation to generation. A subset of culture is language, the system of symbols that allows people to communicate with one another. It can be either written, spoken, or both. Language is how we transmit culture from one generation to the other. We perceive the world through language. The Sapir-Whorf thesis is that we perceive the world through our cultural lens. Let me provide an example of language. And for those of you Arabic speakers, apologies for the pronunciation in advance. How many words for sandstorm, for example, are there in the English language? We probably just have one. In Arabic cultures, though, where there is more of, there are more desert environments, for example, they have different words for sandstorms depending on what kind of a sandstorm it is. There's Aj, which is a really powerful sandstorm, or Habub, an average run-of-the-mill sandstorm that might happen regularly. We determine what is valuable through a cultural lens. One of the elements, or two of the elements of culture that we talk about in our definition of culture, are values and beliefs. Values are culturally defined standards by which people judge desirability, goodness, beauty, justice, and they serve as broad guidelines for social living, while beliefs are specific statements that people hold to be true. For example, we think of robbery as probably a bad thing. Right? That's a belief. That's an American belief. Don't steal from your neighbor. Right? So, Robin S. Williams was a preeminent American sociologist who defined these core American values: equal opportunity, achievement and success, material comfort, activity and work, practicability and efficiency, progress, science, democracy and enterprise, and freedom. More specifically, we turn our values and beliefs into rules, social rules by which we live. Social rules are called norms. These norms are serious, mores, or based in social custom, folkways. These norms are reflections of our cultural values. A more, for example, would carry serious moral significance. Don't commit adultery or murder, for example. People often hold the Ten Commandments up as an example of a set of mores, or serious social rules. There are also informal norms, or folkways. For example, we don't tend to eat salad with our hands. We use a fork. There's no law against eating salad with your hands, but you might think it bizarre if someone who you invited to dinner decided to do that. These formal norms or mores, some of which are so serious that they're defined as such and they become law. There's also an aspect of culture we need to consider. Values, beliefs, and norms that are society-wide are termed non-material culture. In other words, they're ideas. Material culture, however, reflects a society's values in technology made physical. Now, technology is whatever people apply to manipulate their physical environment in terms of living in their surroundings. Examples include books, buildings, physical objects that future generations can use. That's archaeologists uncover. Your laptop, for example, is an example of material culture. Another example of material culture, however, would be, we have a broader definition of technology than a colloquial one. The discovery of fire and its ability to cook food, for example, is a technology, a human technology. So was the invention of the wheel.
So these are the elements of culture, subculture, material, non-material culture, language, symbolic interaction, symbols, and some of the other components that we've covered in this unit. I hope this brief review is helpful for you and will help you to understand culture in great detail. Please make sure and review your readings, the chapter on culture, and all the terms, the glossary terms associated with the chapter, and you should do fine. Thank you.